Hey everybody, welcome back in to Sports Live in the 215. Um, in this video, we'll discuss the Flyers draft lottery projection. I was actually going to make this video tomorrow, and in its place tonight would have been the My Life video. But as I'm recording this, it's 10:03 p.m. and I want to get as deep as I can into when I do the My Life videos. So that's why you're getting like a Flyers draft lottery projection video um, tonight, and then tomorrow you'll get the My Life um, video, which will cover the Bankbridge years. So with that scheduling nerd out of the way, um, let let's get into it. This draft has a lot of really talented players that the Flyers could select from, and this Flyers team actually has the fourth best odds to receive the number one pick or win the lottery, win the NHL Draft Lottery, which I believe I read would take place on Monday, May 5th. And if I'm wrong on that, please correct me in the comments. And obviously my cousin Graham or my cousin Matt, if I'm wrong on that, please of course correct me in the comments. You guys are my hockey sources, so um I I I would love your your confirmation on that or correction if I am wrong. But anyway, so there are a lot of really talented centers in this draft. You have James Hagens, the center from Boston College, who just has a ridiculous just a ridiculous playmaking ability. And I'm I was a big proponent of putting Jet Luchenko on the top line with Matvey Michkov. But if the Flyers actually end up um if the Flyers end up winning the lottery, like I would not be shocked if we either select James Hagens or um I I know I know the other center I really want is Frondale. Too I'm not too sure of his first name, but both both Hagens and Frondale have tremendous playmaking ability, but Hagens and Michkov together would be just absolutely ridiculous. They both can make just these out of this world plays with the puck on their stick, and it's it would be so much fun to watch. Like just just the amount of like disgusting goals that each of them could score would be ridiculous. And I would say like they both have a shot to be to to be like what to be 100 at least 82 to 100 point guys a season for like the entirety of their careers. And I I want to say Michkov had like 70, but there were some spurts where he was benched by John Tortorella because Tortorella just hates when young players make mistakes. So he was in his doghouse for like 8 games. So that just should even put more of that should honestly make what Matt Vey did even more impressive. Now I know there's some Flyers fans in my in in the community, specifically ones in my own podcast network that I'm a part of, or not my podcast network, but the podcast network that I'm a part of, um that want like a huge like 6'6" defenseman. Like they basically wanted a defenseman with Ivan Drago's size, and that's actually funny with since I call Matt Michkov reverse Drago because he's Russian, and instead of trying to hurt someone who's from Philadelphia, he's trying to help Philadelphia win a Stanley Cup. But anyway, when I mentioned that in the meeting I had um, with my with all the people that were gonna be a part of This Week in Phillies baseball, which is a new show live on the Hardcore Sports Network every Monday. Um, so when I mentioned having a, a defenseman with Ivan Drago's size, one of one I think it was James Scorza or Joe Marks was like, I would break you, and I just thought it was hilarious. But yeah, those guys are hilarious. I can't wait to be a part of This Week in Phillies baseball. I can't wait to be in that rotation. But anyway, back to the Flyers. But yeah, I just think James Hagens is for me, just looking up his tape, or actually looking up both Frondale and Hagens' tapes, like their film, or yeah, their film. Hagens for me is the better of the two prospects. He just has better playmaking ability, better vision. Obviously a little bit better goal scoring ability. Their skating is comparable. And Hagens is a very like smart player, very heady player, and that's what the Flyers value specific. Well, they value that in all their players. Obviously, look at Sean Couturier, former Selke Award winner, which is the award given to the league's best defensive forward back in he won that award back in 2020 when the Flyers were the number 1 seed, or they became the number 1 seed. But yeah, they have very very smart centers like Jet Luchenko, Kutsi, obviously, Sean Couturier, and now with if they do draft James Hagens, I I think Sean Couturier can kind of take Hagens under his wing and sort of mold him as like the great. Well, he wouldn't mold his offensive game, but he would help mold his defensive game, or help kind of refine it a little bit. Um, just like little tips and tricks, like like how to stay in front of, how to like keep a guy like an Alex Ovechkin in front of you, like it, because um Sean Couturier always drew the opposition's best offensive player, being that he was our best defensive forward. So so having Hagens learn under Couturier would be a huge asset for both players. Um, before Couturier could potentially be moved, because his partial his partial no movement clause actually kicks in this season, where he can say no to he I want to say he can he can say no to like five or so teams. I'm not exactly sure how like the partial no movement clauses works in hockey, but again, like, you guys correct me in the comments, but we'll see how that shakes out. I really think James Hagens would be a tremendous pick for the Flyers. Just having Hagens and Michkov on the same line, just just essentially skating next to each other for 15, hopefully 15 to 20 years, would just be crazy. Hopefully in that time we win at least, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 cups. Maybe that's a little bit it's getting a little ahead of myself. Yeah, I just think James Hagens is the right pick for the Flyers. Um, and I hope, even if the Flyers win the lottery, that they seriously consider taking James Hagens, because I believe he is the best center in the draft. Although there is an argument to be made for Frondale, or Frondale, not Frondale. I'm sorry. Um, but you 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 get a good player, like, either way, honestly. So um, with that being said, whoever the Flyers take in the in the um in the draft, um, they'll hopefully get a really good player, or they'll hopefully get a guy who projects to be a very good player, and they have the fourth best odds to land that number one pick. I probably already mentioned that, but it of course bears repeating. Now, hold on. Um, Now, with that being said, hold on. As always, go Flyers.